So what are our achievements and what we noted? We did adopt a new mathematics program for the elementary school. We are keeping very close track of the effectiveness of that program. Of course, also we're tracking and looking at, it's obviously a comprehensive program. It includes a lot of PD. It includes a major shift to different types of instructional practices. It does include a very strong assessment component, which we had implemented at the beginning of last year, which was the Ready Diagnostic. We're moving towards a readers and writers workshop in the middle school and the high school. We are focusing on vocabulary instruction across the content area. That was a huge discussion for us because not only do we use the data points from the New Jersey Student Learning Assessments and the PARC, we actually also use the other assessments that we have available, which one of them being Linkit. That came up as an area of real focus for us. We are obviously have implemented a tiered systems of support. We're focusing very heavily on social emotional learning. Kids need to feel good in order for us to convey information to them, so that's a very important component for us. We're focusing on data to drive our instruction. We implemented, as I shared before, a district-wide assessment committee. You know that we are piloting, departmentalizing 5th grade schedule, both at the Whiting School and MTES. There are 2 teachers that are teaching the math and 2 teachers that are focusing primarily on the language arts. And then, of course, our professional development is extremely targeted based upon things that we see here, but also based upon interest from our staff. What are the intervention strategies? Some of this is a little bit repetitive, but it's certainly looking at our tiered systems of support, our middle school team and our high school team. Both Mr. Ninavaji and Mrs. Raimondo actually presented yesterday at a county meeting with 2 of the staff members regarding NJSLA at the middle school and high school. Seems to come up at the county level that most people are using NJSLA and feel very comfortable at the elementary level, but they don't feel as comfortable with the middle school and the high school. And so we were asked to actually do a session on that, and we actually shared some of our documentation, what we are using, and then obviously we will be having conversations with others throughout the county. We are also reviewing our outcomes by subgroups. That's very important. When we were actually CUSAC last year, they were extremely complimentary about our curriculum, but really our focus was what are we giving to our subgroups. So as I shared before, we had our teachers come in and really clearly identify those. And then of course we're looking at what are the achievement gaps and making informed curriculum decisions. What are our next steps? Evaluate the instructional tools that we're using, looking at the strategies, looking at the methods, looking at the interventions that are implemented, and adjusting. We're actually also planning for enrichment. One of you had shared before, no level 5s, at a certain level. That's a concern. So how are we actually providing enrichment? Identifying professional development, drilling down the data, using the tools that we have such as Linkit for this articulation. Very much so continuing with vertical and horizontal articulation. We have included Lakehurst in lots of our conversations. We'll continue to do that. We also include Lakehurst in some of our professional development. And then of course, keeping an eye on ways to support the block scheduling and opportunities for college and career readiness. These are some great questions, and we actually have been talking to the administrators about when you're working with staff and you're looking at this data, what kinds of questions, because we all know what our picture of the data is, but it's really important for the staff because they're the ones working with the students. So what are their ideas? What is their picture of it? What questions do they have? So really, how do we really look at this data more than just numbers? How is it more about children and their needs? We're talking about a lot of numbers here. We started with a wonderful presentation about the children and then presenting to Mr. Treadway, but really it's all about that and their needs. So that is key. How might we view the data as having positive potential for our district, for our school? Obviously, looking at the real student behind every piece of data. That's what NJTSS is. You know, it's not just a number, it's really a kid. Of course then, what are the stories behind the data, but also how do we kind of work with our colleagues? How do we work, because we have so many experts amongst us, how are we tapping into that? And of course, you know, looking for actionable steps to make a real difference. So our team is going to be meeting with all of the building administration, their assessment committee meetings, and creating a really actionable plan. And so, are there any questions?